Hello everyone, welcome to Vinam Guidance. This is Dr. Anuja Sharma. In this video, we'll discuss the basics of spectroscopy, its classifications and various applications of spectroscopy. Now, spectroscopy is the study of interaction between a matter and a radiation. So, a matter can be an atom or a molecule or an ion, and the radiation can be an electromagnetic radiation or light or a particle radiation. So spectroscopy is the study of this interaction between the matter and the radiation, and this interaction is interpreted as a function of either the wavelength or frequency of this particular radiation. Now let's get familiar with some of the terms that we use in spectroscopy. The first one is spectrometry. Now spectroscopy and spectrometry are used interchangeably in some places, but these both are different because spectroscopy is the study of the interaction, while spectrometry is the measurement or analysis of these interactions. Now another term is a spectrometer or a spectrophotometer or spectral analyzer or spectrograph. These can be used interchangeably, and these terms, they all mean an instrument which can perform the measurement of interaction between the radiation and matter. Now, what is a spectrum, which is the next term? A spectrum is a plot of the interaction between the matter and radiation as a function of the wavelength or frequency of radiation. For example, a plot between the intensity of absorption and the frequency or wavelength of the radiation. So, the data which is obtained when you use a spectrometer and is based on the principle of spectroscopy, that data is usually presented as a spectrum, which is the plot of a factor like intensity being measured as a function of either frequency or wavelength. Now, another common term that we use during spectroscopy is spectrography, which basically refers to the methods of experimental spectroscopy. So, the methods that are used in experimental spectroscopy are known as spectrography. So, if we look in a nutshell, spectroscopy basically requires two things. First one is an energy source, which could be a laser or could be another source like electromagnetic radiation or ion source, and a device which is used for measuring the change in this energy source when it interacts with a sample or a matter like an atom or molecule. Now next, let's look at the classifications of spectroscopy. Now there are multiple ways in which you can classify different types of spectroscopy. So the different techniques, they can be grouped depending on the type of radiative energy that can be used, like electromagnetic radiation, so pressure waves or particles such as electrons or neutrons. Then another way of classifying them is depending on the type of material or type of matter being studied, like atoms, molecules, nuclei or crystals. Then the third way you can classify them is the interaction between this material and the energy, because the interaction can be of different types, like it can be emission, it can be absorption, or it can be scattering. Now, another way to classify spectroscopy is based on a specific application for which you're using spectroscopy. For example, FTIR. So let's look at the first way in which you can classify spectroscopy, which is the type of radiative energy or radiation that you're using. So on the basis of radiative energy, the first one is optical spectroscopy, or it is also known as electromagnetic spectroscopy, as this involves interaction of matter, which could be atom or molecule, with electromagnetic radiation or light. Now the techniques which use electromagnetic radiations, they're generally classified depending on the wavelength region of the spectrum. So on the basis of the range of wavelength, it can be ultraviolet visible or UV visible spectroscopy, it can be X-ray spectroscopy, it can be infrared or near infrared, or it can be gamma spectroscopy. Now every element or compound, it has a unique characteristic spectrum. That means it has a particular range of wavelength in which it can either absorb or emit radiation. Now the next type of spectroscopy, depending on the radiative energy, is particle spectroscopy. Now in case of particle spectroscopy, you can have both electron or neutron spectroscopy. But electron spectroscopy is more common. In case of particle spectroscopy, the wavelength range is usually determined or decided by the kinetic energy of this particle. Now an example of particle spectroscopy is Auger spectroscopy, which basically involves the Auger effect using the electron beams as the source of radiative energy or radiation. Now the third kind is acoustic spectroscopy, which generally involves the use of radiated pressure waves. The fourth kind of spectroscopy, depending on the radiative energy, is mass spectroscopy. Now in case of mass spectroscopy, The interaction occurs between a charged species with a magnetic or electric field, which leads to the formation of a mass spectrum. Now, mass spectrometer, it usually contains a source which produces ions, and any sample or any matter that you're using, any material, information about that material, it can be obtained by analyzing the dispersion of these ions when they interact with the sample. So basically the interaction between the ions and the material, it can give important information about the sample. Now these days generally the term mass spectroscopy has been replaced by mass spectrometry, although mass spectrometry is actually a form of measurement, but it also produces a spectrum. So nowadays mass spectroscopy is not used, mass spectrometry is used as the term. Now the next way using which you can classify different types of spectroscopies, the type of material. Now based on the type of material, there are different types of spectroscopy, and the first one is atomic spectroscopy, which means the atoms are being used as the material or as the matter. Now in case of atomic spectroscopy, you can have both atomic absorption spectroscopy and atomic emission spectroscopy. And atomic spectroscopy was actually the first application of spectroscopy that was developed. Now in case of both the absorption and emission spectroscopy, it involves the use of both visible and UV light. So you have UV visible spectroscopy for both absorption and emission kind of spectroscopy. Now the spectra which is obtained in case of atomic spectroscopy, it is due to the electronic transitions, and these electronic transitions are of the outer shell electrons. So these outer shell electrons, when they absorb or emit radiation, they move from one electron orbit to another electron orbit. This results in the electronic transition leading to the formation of atomic spectral lines. Now the atoms of different elements, they basically absorb and emit radiation in different range of wavelengths. So they basically have a distinct spectra, and thus the atomic spectroscopy has been used and is being used for the identification and quantification of samples. So if you have a sample of unknown chemical composition, you can use atomic spectroscopy to identify the elements present in the sample, and you can also quantify them. Now in case of atomic spectroscopy, atoms, they also have a distinct X-ray spectra, and techniques which have been used to study these X-ray spectra are X-ray spectroscopy and X-ray fluorescence. Now the next type of matter that can be used is molecule. So the combination of atoms leads to the formation of molecules. So since atoms of different elements have distinct spectra, the combination of atoms, it also leads to the creation of unique types of spectra. This is because when the atoms combine to form a molecule, they also result in the creation of different types of energetic states which are actually different from the atoms. So these unique energetic states and the electronic transition between these unique energetic states leads to the formation of unique spectra. Now some of the examples of molecular spectroscopy are infrared and Raman spectroscopy, UV visible spectroscopy, and fluorescence spectroscopy. Now let's move on to the third type of matter, which is crystals or even extended materials formed by the combination of atoms and molecules. Now again, since the crystals are formed by the combination of atoms and molecules, this results in the creation of additional or unique energetic states, which results in the formation of unique types of transition between these states, so the unique spectra. Now crystals, basically they have a weak spectra, which means the spectra is not very distinct or it is very broad. Now this is because the states, different energetic states which are present in crystals, they are very numerous and they have a very high density. Now an example where crystals and extended materials are used is for crystallographic studies using X-rays or electrons or neutrons. Now the next type of matter that can be used is nuclei. Now the nuclei, they also have distinct energy states just like atoms and molecules, but the energy states in nuclei, they are widely separated, and the spectra which is obtained in case of nuclei is gamma ray spectra. An example of spectroscopy where nuclei is used as a matter is nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, or generally known as NMR spectroscopy. Now the next way in which you can classify different types of spectroscopy is the type of interaction which happens between the matter and the radiation, which is also the basis of how these interactions are measured, or what kind of measurement process is used to measure these or to analyze these interactions. So the first kind of interaction is absorption spectroscopy. So absorption, basically it occurs when energy from the radiation or from the radiative source is absorbed by the material. So this kind of spectroscopy, it basically uses that part of the electromagnetic radiation or that part of the electromagnetic spectra in which a substance can absorb the light or can absorb the energy. Now the absorption, in case of absorption spectroscopy, is usually determined by measuring the transmittance. So basically it is determined by measuring that fraction of energy which is transmitted, not the fraction which is absorbed. And the absorption spectroscopy include atomic absorption spectroscopy and different types of molecular techniques like IR spectroscopy and NMR spectroscopy. Now the next kind of spectroscopy is emission spectroscopy. Now in case of emission spectroscopy, the radiative energy is basically released by the material and not absorbed. However, for a substance to emit or release this energy, it has to first absorb the energy. So different kinds of sources, different variety of sources are used as the source of energy or as the source of radiative energy. Now the sources of energy which can be used can be electric arcs, it can be flames, or it can be electromagnetic radiations. Now the next type of spectroscopy, depending on the interaction between matter and radiation, is scattering or reflection spectroscopy. This type of spectroscopy basically determines how the incident radiation, how the radiative energy is either reflected or scattered by this material. So this basically determines or measures the amount of energy or amount of light that a substance will scatter, that a material or matter will scatter at certain wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectra, at certain incident angles and polarization angles. Now some of the applications of scattering or reflection spectroscopy are Raman spectroscopy and crystallography. Now in case of Raman spectroscopy, light is used, while in case of crystallography, high energy radiations like X-rays and electrons are used. Now some of the most common types of spectroscopy that we'll discuss in further videos are UV visible spectroscopy, infrared spectroscopy, X-ray spectroscopy, NMR spectroscopy, Raman spectroscopy and fluorescence spectroscopy. Now before we end this video, let's talk about some of the applications of spectroscopy. Now spectroscopy is used in analytical chemistry for the identification of substances, and this is based on the spectrum which is emitted or absorbed by them. This is because the atoms of different elements or molecules of different elements, they basically have a unique spectra. So based on that, they can be identified and quantified. Now spectroscopy can be used to identify the nature or identify the properties of different compounds which are present in a sample. Now it can also be used to assess the purity of products of a chemical process and to determine the progress of the chemical process or whether the chemical process has actually ended properly. Now as we discussed, the spectrum emitted or absorbed by a substance is actually unique. So this spectrum can be used to identify the constituents which are present in a material of unknown composition. Also these spectrums can also be used for quantitative analysis. So you can measure the amount of different material present in the sample, and different spectroscopy techniques can be used to measure even very small amount of material. Even a very small amount like parts per million can be identified or can be analyzed using spectroscopic techniques. Now spectroscopy can also be used to measure the effect of electromagnetic radiation on a sample. So basically you can measure the intensity or duration of the exposure to the radiation source. So you can measure for how long or with what intensity a material has been exposed to a particular radiation like X-ray or ultraviolet radiations or gamma radiations.